Hey, welcome back everybody. Right now we are going to talk about how to study your own game. And this installation is actually a little bit of a preview of the next chapter we're going to talk about, which are all of the software and tools that you're going to need to succeed as an online poker player. But just real quick before we get into more detailed portions of the course, it's important that we talk about how to study from your own play. You can imagine that it's a lot of fun to be at the tables, to face all of those difficult decisions, and to really start putting the hours and volume in. So as you go along and you do that, hopefully you are playing with some sort of tracker which keeps your hand histories organized so that you can go and review them. We want to show you how to properly study your own play. Every professional does this, no matter the sport. They always go back and look at tape, and hand history is sort of the tape of the online poker world, right? So most commonly, you have Hold'em Manager or Poker Tracker. Those are popular HUDs and hand history organizers. There's also Hand to Note, Drive HUD, different versions of software that do the same thing, which is keep a database of the hands that you have played. You want to make sure you've got something along those lines so that you can go back and review. All right. Now, I guess the biggest temptation for a beginner is to just sort of have like an ad hoc approach where you load up maybe the last session or your biggest losing pots, and you start going over all of those hands, or maybe you had some sort of intricate spot that you really wanted some input on. Those like big all-in moments, those sort of grab our attention, and we want to review those. But the way to quickly grow when you're first starting out is to have a more methodical approach to how you review. And that is going to be accomplished by reviewing the hands that align with the piece of strategy that you are first studying, right? And for most beginners, that's going to be flop play, c-betting, things of that nature. Obviously, you can study pre-flop spots too, but since there's a lot of charts that go with all of those decisions, it's not quite as complicated. So you want to get into flop situations and c-betting just because those are very common scenarios. Like we were talking about a couple of courses before, your attention should gravitate to situations that you face over and over and over again. And the ones that you face most often are the ones that you want to hit first. That's where you're going to see the biggest jumps in your performance and in your win rate. So you want to review common spots. And while you're playing, you can also tag hands that relate to those common spots that you are studying. So for example, c-betting. So to show you what that looks like, you're likely going to have some sort of database of your hands, and you want to start filtering for the spots to review. So like I said, it might be very tempting just to go over your biggest wins, your biggest losses, really complicated hands, but you can really get a lot of knowledge by breaking down these hands through filters. So for example, if you want to know how well your c-bet game is doing, all right, what you want to do is filter for situations where you c-bet, or at the very least had an opportunity to do so. So each program is going to have its own quirks of how to filter. Here we're using Poker Tracker 4 since it is very common. And you can filter by all of the things in the column here, like game details, hand details, session details, hand values, board texture, actions and opportunities. And once you get comfortable with the software, you are going to be delving into kind of like each one of those categories, but we want to demonstrate how you can use some of these filters in conjunction with each other to get the scenarios you are looking for. So, for example, we want to look at c-bets, right? So we go to actions and opportunities on the flop, right? We can filter for continuation bets to begin with, or we could go to flop opportunities here, right? And we can look up continuation bet opportunities. And if we add that to our filter and we save and apply, we are going to have all of the hands where there was an opportunity for us to make a c-bet. So if we replay all the hands in the report, we can get to all of those spots. And as you can see here, looks like we have a three-way spot that pops up, and we had an opportunity to c-bet. We passed it in this hand, but right off the bat, what we notice is that this is a three-way pot, and a lot of times when we are studying the game, we're looking for common scenarios, and that is when we are heads up. Solvers give you just heads up solutions, first of all, so that's one thing. And second of all, even when you're doing your own off-table analysis, like say with a flop visualizer, something that you learn about in the next lesson, you're mostly going to be comparing two ranges against each other. And you want to make sure that the hands you're filtering fall in alignment. So we can go ahead and add another filter. See, if we go to hand details, we can do number of players, right? Seeing the flop, if we set this between 2 and 2, whoops. If we go to hand details, and we set that on, there we go. We save and apply filters, right? All the hands that should be left are ones where there were just two players seeing the flop. Let's see if that's the case. Yep. We're heads up in this one, but hey, look at that. This was a 3-bet pot. We 3-bet someone pre-flop, right? And when you are reviewing, you want to be very specific, right? You want to separate your 2-bet pots from your 3-bet pots, your heads-up pots from your multi-way pots. So what can we do? Go back to our filters. And if we go to hand details, maximum pre-flop raise occurred, we can just set it to just the 2-bet pots. That way the situation is specific to what we are studying. If, for example, I go back to my flop visualizer, you see that I had two ranges in here, and these ranges were already set up for someone opening in the field, like a cutoff, and big blind defending, right? So these situations that are heads up and in 2-bet pots are going to fall in line much more with those scenarios, right? So for example, looks like I was trying to target a fish with a big old raise in the beginning. But yeah, here we have c-bet opportunity. It looks like for whatever reason here I skipped that one, right? And I'm not sure. Is that part of my strategy or is that not? To not be c-betting these hands. That's where the actual learning happens. You're going to consult solvers. You're going to consult your flop visualizers, right? We're going to put in a similar flop. I think it's Jack 10, something suited. What did we have? And now when we have our software up here and we can compare the two ranges, decide who has nut advantage, who has equity advantage, all those good things that we'll get into the future. We can start planning our strategies as we review our hands. And that way, everything sort of molds together. We are focused on the same part of the game tree, and we are combining our historical performance with the strategy that we are trying to set. So this is sort of what I meant by contextualizing your hand history reviews with strategy. You're looking over your hand, you're wondering, should I have c-bet that? Well, you go to your software, you can compare the ranges and see how they interact, what players ahead. Is this something that we always want to c-bet? Is it not? And is our gut shot with our ace-king something that we want to be c-betting? Those are the kinds of questions that you want to be asking yourself. And once you find the answers, you lock that strategy in, you execute on that strategy. Once you have a big enough sample size, you can review that action again and see how profitable it is and adjust from there. That's how you become a strong, independent poker learner, and that is how you become a crusher at the game. And lastly, I want to show you a quick thing. Say that you are focused on c-betting, or you're focused on bluffing, or you're whatever you happen to be working on in the moment. Regardless of the software that you use, you will be able to customize tags to tag hands while you are playing. So I believe in Poker Tracker, it's going to be here. If you go to tags, you can add a tag like say c-bet opportunity. And if while you're playing you have a question as to what the right move is in game, your HUD is going to pop this tag up and you'll be able to add it. So let me see if I can demonstrate that in the hand replayer. So we're not sure whether to c-bet here or not. You're going to see this pop up over your table while you are playing. You can oopsies. You can tag the hand as a c-bet opportunity, and then that way when you are done playing, you can filter for your marked hands, and those will pop up so that you can start reviewing anything that you really had a question on during play, and hopefully the things that you are tagging fall in line with the piece of strategy that you are studying at the moment. So thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Download it for free at Jurojinpoker.com.